Hi, folks. Dr. P here, and the doctorate is in military history, and I'm going to talk about history this time. It affects games, but it's more about history than games, I suppose. And what put me in the mind of this is the game Kingmaker, which originated in England, and then Avalon Hill put out an advanced Kingmaker, their own version of things, and that sold very, very, very well, but is long, long out of print. Now, there is a new English version as revised by Alan Paul, who is a very well-known designer and who I've known since he was in college. Um, and I was in graduate school. Am not familiar with what he's done. I know he's been very careful not to change too much. I personally think Kingmaker is a terrible game, and that's because it has nothing to do with the reality of the Wars of the Roses. I looked into the Wars of Roses at some length because I was thinking about making a separate game, and I got to the point of designing a lot of it, but I didn't get to the point of playing it because I lost interest. In the War of the Roses, the history is that there's a lot of hemming and hawing and jabbering, finally followed by the shit hits the fan. For example, when Edward IV died, and then the war restarts. During most of the War of the Roses, there was no war going on. This results in lots of recruitment of soldiers who can only be kept for the short term because there's not enough money to pay them. So there's a few battles and a winner who becomes the king usually, or sets someone up as the king. Then there's a long period of peace followed by the same sequence. And this happens at least 3 times. Now, this makes creating a game that represents this period very difficult if you're going to represent the period. As I say, Kingmaker does not. It has almost nothing to do with this reality. And I don't know, I'm not familiar with the other Wars of the Roses games, but I suspect that none of them have this sequential kind of on and off again that is the reality of the Wars of the Roses. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. My general advice, I guess, to game designers is make a good game. Don't worry about too much about the history, but if you're going to include some history, try to have what happens in the game at least reflect to some extent what happened in reality. Kingmaker doesn't. Many other games do. Thanks for listening.